coming into Las Vegas, I filmed a short video, 2-minute time-lapse video for you. If you want to look at it, we'll be flying over central Colorado is where I picked it up. We were at 43,000 feet at the time, descending into the Las Vegas area. So we'll fly right over southern Utah, over Arches National Park, over Zion National Park, just clip the north part of the Grand Canyon, and then come around. You should see the strip right before we land of the Las Vegas Strip, and taxiing in. But after that, hope you enjoy that video, and we'll talk to you in a second. I get a lot of questions throughout the year just on what we do in the off season, and one of the things I do is fly airplanes, and that has been my career for nearly 15-20 years, and I'll kind of go into that, how I got into that, and how that pairs with the resort. Well, early on, when I was younger, my family would take a lot of trips, and part of the trips that I really enjoyed was the flying part. It was always something that intrigued me. Here is the plane that I fly. It is a CJ2, and it holds, we'll hop on in there and I'll show you it a little bit more, but it holds 7 passengers and 2 pilots. Now, one unique thing about this plane is it only requires 1 pilot. So I am the only pilot in here. It's the CJ family of airplanes is the largest plane, civilian plane that you can fly, and only require 1 pilot. And here is the front of it. Similar gauges to what you'd see in an airline. The corporate side versus the airline side, we all have the same rating. It's called an airline transport pilot rating. So we've all gone through the similar training. Now, when you go to fly different airplanes, there would be a multi-week course on that specific plane. That's the same for this family, the CJ family of airplanes as well. But let me relocate, and I'll talk to you more about how I got into flying. Flying is always something that intrigued me, even early on. Always, if the pilots would ever, on an airline, ever let you come look in the cockpit or sit in the front of the plane after landing, I was always up there wanting to do so. And my dad brought me to a aviation day at the St. Cloud Airport once, and they had people giving rides, and I did that when I was probably 13, 14, and I got hooked. So I started at the age of 14 just taking flight lessons early on, just off and on, not overly consistent, but just working toward my pilot license, which I couldn't get till I was 17 anyways. But you can fly an airplane, what's called soloing, by yourself at 16. So I actually did that before I got my driver's license, and then a couple days later got my driver's license. I got my pilot license still in high school. That's just a private pilot license. There's multiple other ratings and licenses that you need to get to fly in order to be able to fly professionally. And so when it came time for colleges, I went to St. Cloud State because I was already enrolled at the St. Cloud Airport with their aviation program in the process to get my ratings, and just went to St. Cloud State. And a lot of my classes allowed me to test out or advance because I already had a couple of my ratings and things like that. So it worked out well. I was able to get a 4-year degree in 3 years and graduate a little bit early. I went from there and I instructed, so I taught people how to fly airplanes for about 1.5 years, just under that. And then I went on to fly planes similar to this one that you saw. There's some propeller planes that I flew, and then these jets that the typical progression is you fly a right seater as a co-pilot for a few months or a couple years and get your experience, and then you move over to the captain seat. And so I did that for a company out in Wisconsin, and now I've been flying this particular plane for about 8.5 years. Some of the reasons why I chose corporate aviation versus the airlines, neither is necessarily a wrong choice. It's kind of personal preference. And in prior video, obviously you knew I grew up at the resort, and where I had mentioned hospitality as just being a way of life. It wasn't something that we just clocked in and clocked out at. And I felt like that's what I got out of corporate aviation. I get to know my passengers, know my boss personally. I get to know the people that I'm flying frequently. I get to, part of the duties of that is you get to know what they want for catering and for amenities in the plane, for drinks, for beverages, for snacks, things like that. You get to get all that. You get to organize anything they need from the time they arrive to the plane to the time they leave. They get off the plane. So set up rental cars, set up hotels if needed. A lot of more personalized customer service, you would say. That does add a little bit of extra behind the scenes work with regard to flight planning and getting all that. But I do enjoy that, and I do enjoy providing value wherever I can. That's my goal regardless of where I'm at, or even if it's coaching my son's basketball, if it's at the resort, or if it's here in aviation. My goal is always to provide value and treat others like they're kings and queens. So the people that sit in the back, I try to, like I said, treat them like royalty. I try to make their trips as easy as possible. Literally, as you get on these planes, there's a red carpet, and as you get off, there's a red carpet, and we just try to make everything as seamless as possible. And the goal of that is simply for service and treat them like kings and queens. It's an interesting combination to combine this flying with the resort, and there are some days I get back from flying and meeting wealthy individuals and shaking hands with a lot of corporate people, and then I hop in my tractor at the resort and I go empty fish guts in the garbage, and it's just a completely different set of circumstances. And I think it's kind of fun to have that approach and those options with regard to my career. If you are interested in flying, or if you know someone that is, feel free to let them contact me, give them my email address, and feel free to reach out. Always eager to help the next generation in aviation. Hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye.